Damn, y'all feel that?
Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. A message to all you pseudo spitters. The sound is cool, but the trend I see is the truth is missing. I feel the flow is stupid. You claim that the music's different. I guess it's all opinion, depending on who was listening.
What's the word, y'all? It's KTR Podcast, hashtag KTR. We are back in the build for episode 73 of Know the Roast Podcast. That's right, Know the Roast Podcast, hashtag KTR. We are KTR. We are back in the building for another one. Just for y'all, the rest of the communities, y'all can be live and direct with us. And before I dive into this episode, I gotta check in with my brothers, and that is Big Harv and J-Bo himself. And my brothers, how are y'all feeling today?
Another day to get me through. I'm feeling good, dog. What about you, Big Harv?
About the same, man. Trying to make it through another day.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Another day, another dollar to make the girls holler. But before we dive into this day, on this episode of episode 73, y'all, the community, the supporters, everyone, do this one simple favor for me, and that is to follow us on all social media platforms, KTR_podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget, we got threads too now. Yeah. Facebook and YouTube, No Rose Podcast. All podcast platforms got Apple Podcast. That threw me off. I forgot the whole introduction. But we got Google Podcasts, got Spotify, we got Anchor, got Apple Podcasts, got probably on everything. And don't forget to get that merch at prowrestlingtees.com/KTR Podcast. Let's get into the show. Yeah. Speaking of, what's the name? So there's more and more social media apps coming out lately, and I'm just trying to keep up with it. A thing called Spill came out. Now a thing called Threads came out. And we haven't made Threads yet. I just thought about throwing it out there because we're probably going to make one. But they have this whole 360 deal going on. It's if you do create one, but you want to delete the account, you got to delete your Instagram. And I'm not sure how I feel about that right now because, I may want to delete my Instagram account one day. You never know. But like, what if your account get hacked? Like, damn, like you want to delete them? Like, well, shoot, I'm stuck with it now. Somebody happened. Yeah, it's a lot. No, that's another conversation for another day because we're gonna talk about wrestling right about now. And let's dive into the pay-per-view that just happened, which could be included in the Big Four. I don't know if it's a Big Four or not, but it should be. And that is Money in the Bank. Cha-ching! Out there in London, they had a great show, great crowd. John Cena showed up. Let's get that first and foremost. My guy. I wish he was wrestling, but he did hit that attitude adjustment on Grayson Waller, so that was good enough. But with the results of Money in the Bank, obviously we got to go to the main thing about the show, which is, besides the Tribal Chief losing, the Money in the Bank recipients that won, which was Mr. Money in the Bank, Damian Priest, and Miss Money in the Bank, Io Sky. These two individuals won the Money in the Bank. They have a future contract for a championship match at any time at their disposal. And we just got to figure out, how do y'all feel about these two Money in the Bank winners? Big Harv, let you start off real first.
I think that Damian Priest was a wild card, dark horse that we didn't really even think about. Because he's more of an enforcer character, but he definitely has what it takes to be on top. He's shown that in several matches over the last year, at least, and other companies. What was his name? Martini, something like that.
Punishment Martinez.
Martinez. Yeah, there it is. Punishment Martini. He was always pretty good. So hopefully they give him some actual character work, so that we can see what he can do as a character and going forward as a possible champ. I have confidence in him. I think that he's a good choice as far as a workhorse champion. And Io was one of my picks, so I pretty much predicted how that whole little incident was going to go. So I'm happy with both. I'm happy with both of them. I still think that they should have pulled the trigger with LA Knight. I think that WWE has a history of doing that. They have people that get themselves over organically, and they just don't want to latch on to them for some reason. But I'm not mad at the choice that was Damian Priest.
J-Bo.
I'm happy with both decisions. I also agree with Harv. Io was my pick for the female winners. And the thing with Damian Priest, I think that was actually a great choice. Damian Priest definitely has been showing himself to be a legitimate threat for, I would say, better part of the last year. Even though he had that unnecessary loss to Bad Bunny, he still, get into the ring, dominates, and yeah, we're not going to forget
about it. The
we're
winner
not
of
going
the
to
Money
forget
in the Bank
about it.
lost to Bad Bunny.
He did not need to lose that match. But that's neither here nor there. The fact that he won is great. I do see him as a future world champion as well. I think I said before on the show, I didn't really care for him when he was in NXT or his character. When he came on to the Judgment Day, like it made sense, but it still wasn't latching on. But within the past year or so, he's definitely been showing out a lot more. I didn't care about him since Harv mentioned when he was Punishment Martinez back in the Ring of Honor. But he's a great pick. I have no problem with that one. And then also to the comment of LA Knight, I'm okay with him not winning because he's definitely gotten over within the past few months organically. In my opinion, as long as they allow him to continue being him, giving him more mic opportunities, giving him more legitimate feuds, I think he can organically get himself to the main event spot without needing the Money in the Bank briefcase. So he didn't win, but he'll be fine as long as he keep doing what he's doing. He'll be fine.
I don't trust WWE that far.
Yeah, I get that, but that was a great point that you mentioned, saying that he could organically get to that title position picture on his own with his basic character. So that's why I wasn't too mad about him losing the Money in the Bank because obviously that's basically like an easy push and boost for somebody to get a title. And it works more so in Damian Priest's favor because we have, like Harv said before, we've seen sprinkles here and there of him and there in these big matches with other people, showing his enforcer role, showing how he's a dominant character, this and that in ways, and just this contract will help just elevate him that quickly to get to that position when it's time to cash in. Just don't know when that's going to happen yet because of the whole thing with the Judgment Day. Now, with the Miss Money in the Bank winner, I said Zelina Bay was going to win. With that, like I said, this was a match I wasn't sure in any direction this was going to go, who would get that contract. I just knew it wasn't going to be Zoe Stark or Trish Stratus. So that was obvious. So
that's fair.
But between the other four, it was like a toss-up. And that was my choice. What Harv said in the previous episode, which is episode 72. Y'all go check it out. He made a valid point on why Io Sky should have won, and she did. So it made a lot of sense how he broke it down with that storyline. So I get it. I'm fine with it. Still wish LA Knight should have won the thing, but that's there. I'm gonna let it go. I let it go. Like I say, he'll get there eventually one day, hopefully, if WWE allows it to happen. But another event also did occur at Money in the Bank, and we're not going to talk about the Tribal Chief finally getting pinned after 3 years. I'm pretty sure everybody else has spoken about it so far, so we're going to let that ride. All right. I'm pretty sure everybody you heard on every other episode. We want to talk about something different real quick, just to flip the table real fast, and that is Shayna Baszler turning on Ronda Rousey. And thank God that happened because I'm getting sick and tired of seeing Ronda on my TV screen. I'm sick of her having a title. I'm sick of her having a microphone.
So again, just like when Charlotte came back and unceremoniously took the title from her, this does not change any of that immediately. She's still going to have a microphone. She's still going to be on your TV screen because it's the beginning of a feud. It's the beginning of a feud. It's likely the beginning of another face turn for her, and likely the beginning of more mic time for her and more TV time.
So you think Ronda's going to turn face from this?
Yeah.
I think it'll be Shayna.
I don't think Shayna's a face. I don't think that there's any conceivable way that they make her a believable face. No matter what they try, it's going to revert back organically to the crowd being in favor of Ronda and not in favor of Shayna Baszler.
That should be the title of this episode. Organically, because I can see
reaction to the two.
When you say that, like I can see it kind of happen, like slowly over time.
It's like, about mainstream appeal. Like even if we go back to the Damian Priest, we was talking about how he just lost to Bad Bunny. That's kind of a double-edged sword because it also put more eyes on him because of Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny's biggest artist like the last 3 years running. So he has clips, regardless of if he lost or not. He has clips of him in the ring in a match with Bad Bunny. That's always going to be good publicity for him. when it comes to Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey's out here doing the ambassador role for WWE. She's on the side shows, she's on the little interviews and stuff because she has that crossover appeal. So in my opinion, Shayna's not gonna be able to get over the same way that Ronda is with the crowd.
When you put it that way, that makes sense because you know Ronda is in the mainstream media mainly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She's the face that people recognize if they just flipping the channels and see them two on TV. Hey, Ronda Rousey.
Right, and then bring it to a more positive light so it could continue more and back stuff with her in WWE and just cross-referencing whether she's doing stuff for UFC, MMA, and WWE. Like, it all works out, especially with the merger they just did just
with
now.
The merger,
so,
exactly.
Yep, so, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, with that, I'm sorry, J-Bo, you didn't speak about it. Go ahead. My fault.
You were good. You was bringing up good points. But no, well, all I was going to say was this feud is actually going to be terrific for Shayna. Harv, you did mention that obviously Ron is going to be the main one that's going to get over on this one because she's the face, she's the appeal of these two interactions, which I totally agree. Shayna Baszler, however, she needs this feud. She needs this victory. She needs this in-ring with Ronda because ever since she left NXT, they have done virtually nothing with her. Her tag team championship wins has been boring, lackluster, and forgettable. It's been terrible. But we forget that Shayna Baszler, along with Asuka, was probably two of the most dominant WWE NXT Women's Champions that we've ever had. And I think people are forgetting how dominant Shayna can be if put into that light. So far, no one has been able to do that for her, and I think Ronda is going to be great. If not for the in-ring presence, as we mentioned earlier, definitely the publicity. You have a Ronda Rousey match and Shayna Baszler. Oh, well, we don't really care about Shayna Baszler, but they go into a match and they put on one hell of a show, even if Ronda came out on top. Going back to Harv's point, Shayna Baszler, she put on a match with Ronda Rousey. Okay, well, maybe we should pay a little bit more attention to Shayna again. And that's what I'm really hoping out of this because I love Shayna Baszler in NXT. And even though WWE is clearly a different crowd than what NXT is, we talked about this on the show before, I still have faith that she has one more good chance to be as dominant as she can be, and that's through Ronda Rousey.
Now, what I was saying when I was speaking earlier, I was specifically talking about when Cinko said that he was tired of seeing her on TV and hearing her on the mic. What I'm saying is that's not going to stop. I do think that Shayna Baszler is going to go over in the feud. I think that she's going to get the biggest rub from the feud. I just don't think she's going to be the face in the feud.
No, of course.
That's what I was speaking on. Yeah. She's not going to be the good character. She's going to be the heel. Just like you said, her dominance, she is a heel. That's 100% is what her character is. So I feel like that is where she's going to shine. I don't think that Ronda's going to go over. I think this is the perfect time to put Shayna over. I was just saying that Ronda's not going anywhere because of this feud. And also, go ahead.
Do you think that this could be a good retirement match for Ronda Rousey? Because there's nothing left for her to do. She's starting she already started a family now, and I can see her doing a whole lot more publicity pieces. And if she's going to have a feud with Shayna Baszler, I mean, after this, what else is there for you to do?
Please.
Absolutely. This could be her swan song with the company. It could be a way for her to get out.
Please.
Yeah, but in the immediate future, she's going to be on our TV screens just as much, if not more, than what she was. On the other side of this whole thing is that it's still how pointless them damn tag team titles are. It's a cycle. They broke up the tag team champions and put them back on another duo they just threw together who were the champions previously, which is the cycle. That's just how it's going to continue. Eventually, one of them going to turn on each other, and they're going to give it to whatever other two women they have at the time. And I'm not invested. I'm just tired of seeing those titles, period. I don't want to see
talking about the women tag team title.
I don't want to see
this plays a role because that's how it led to this. And I mentioned in our group chat, like this was an opportunity for the tag titles to have some type of relevancy by letting Alba Fire and I can't remember the other girl, but it was a chance for them to unify the belts, and then they could have went on with Liv Morgan and Rodriguez at that point, and they could have continued that. The point of putting it on Ronda and Shayna, then to lose it in their first or second title defense, and now they got a few. Yeah, to Harv's point, it's just pointless. They gave another pointless checkpoint in the long history, short history, pointless history of the women's tag team titles.
Yeah, because they could have had them turn on each other on that SmackDown show, but
Yeah.
I get they want to save that kind of stuff for the PLE, so just for something big going to the next storyline. But they could have did something to figure it out. But with this, I'm happy for Shayna Baszler for this momentum for her because she needs it and deserves it. Because people forgot how dominant she was 3 years ago as a wrestler in the women's scene, especially when she had that Elimination Chamber match before COVID happened. And that was going to be the point where she was going to be elevated to be the next women's champ. But unfortunately, COVID happened, knocked off all plans and everything just went down the hole. And they were trying to figure out things to do. So I hope she gets back to that element where she was as a dominant wrestler, a dominant opponent. She should be what Ronda is right now. The only thing about it is Ronda can't wrestle. That's all.
No,
or anything else.
Like that was the whole thing. They hired, I think, 2 more of the women from UFC and tried to do the whole little 4 horsewomen, and that was a rumored match for a while that they were going to have the 4 of WWE and the 4 of UFC go up against each other. So, as far as training and in ring and all that, yeah, Shayna should be who they tried to make Ronda. Ronda, as far as a wrestler, is not on Shayna Baszler's level at all.
Not at all. Yeah, like I said, hope for the best with that. Hope for the best of Shayna and moving on forward that. And yeah, that's pretty much had with that. But another thing, we just gonna keep talking and Money in the Bank. It looked like we had return with Drew McIntyre. Finally showed his face. Not sure the whole thing was contract situation and all that, but it looks like he's about to start a feud with Gunther. How do you feel about this upcoming feud with Gunther and Drew McIntyre? Take it away, J-Bo.
I don't know. I'm so behind Gunther that I think this is going to be a terrific match. I still don't think Gunther's going to drop this belt. The thing is, Drew McIntyre needs to win. He needs it. He hasn't been on that top level since he was the WWE champion during the COVID era. Mind you, he was probably one of the best WWE champions we had in our generation because he was consistent. He had a different opponent every month. He went in, had hard-fought matches, and won. So he was great. And he can go back to that level. So this match with Gunther will be great. But Gunther is on such a roll right now. I don't see him losing to him right now. I don't know. I just don't see that happening. So I look forward to this great match, but right now I'm still on train with Gunther. But congrats on Drew McIntyre getting that check and coming back.
Big hole.
I think it's another mixed bag with this one. Drew should be a bigger deal than what he is. Like J-Bo just said, he was one of our best examples of a fighting champion of this current generation. And he's being brought back to fight for a mid-card title, which is honestly, in my opinion, that mid-card title means more than the new world title that they just put out and put on Seth Rollins. So it's not like a knock to that title. It's more a knock as far as positioning goes. He should have come back and been feuding with somebody for a top title. The match with Gunther is going to be great. The whole feud is going to be really good, no doubt. I think for the sake of somebody being pushed higher, Drew has to take the title off Gunther. I don't want him to take the title off Gunther before Gunther beats Honky Tonk Man's record. I feel like it's time. As long as we got Reigns in the top 5 of all time, and nobody saw that coming in another era since all those were made back when titles went months without being defended, so they could hold on to them for a couple years, and it made sense because they only had matches ever so often. And since Honky Tonk Man wasn't really a great wrestler, I feel like putting a great wrestler in that position would be good for the company's image really, and to actually give a good nod to the current crop of stars that they have. So it's a mixed bag. I think Gunther needs to lose it so that he can move on to bigger, better things, but he shouldn't lose it before he breaks that record. I think Drew should take that title, but he deserves more because he's bigger than a mid-card title at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of hard with that because obviously with one side of the mid-card title, it's being hogged in the whole bloodline storyline. So that's off the table for a good amount of who knows how long, amount of months. And with the world heavyweight title, currently we just see this feud with Seth Rollins and the Judgment Day, and who knows how long that's going to go on for. But like I said, I told y'all this in the group chat earlier with Drew McIntyre. Glad he came back. Glad he's going to have like a big standoff feud with Gunther. Just he should not be going for a mid-card title like y'all said already. Like I just disagree with that. He's already been there. He's above that. But it's just so hard because of currently right now the storyline's going on with the main card title. It's hard to fit him in there. And that's just the only thing because one storyline's been all for 3 years based, and the other one is just brand new, but that's already covered right now. So we're just gonna see what happens with that. Because obviously the next person in line for a championship will be Damian Priest, and that's obviously gonna be for the world heavyweight title.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's gonna start something anew from there. And who knows what that would be. Would that be the first feud right there with him and Drew McIntyre? Because they're not gonna let Damian Priest drop the title after a couple months.
Yeah.
So
if they continue with this storyline, it makes sense to me that they're gonna have Priest possibly take it off of Rollins and then have Balor go at Priest.
or I could see Finn Balor win the title and get taken off of Balor.
Or that, yeah, I could see it going that way. Depending on the PR Seth Rollins got to do for this movie he in, he might have to drop it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So we're gonna see what happens with that. All right. Last topic of the day. And I can't believe I'm about to speak about this one. It's about
Young Goat.
Rey Mysterio's son.
Young Goat. There you go.
And I'm actually going to address him by his name this time. Dominic Mysterio. Because I had a lot of time to sit back and think about this. As much as I dislike this person over the years and his lack of wrestling ability in the ring, even for him going from a face to a heel, never liked him. Still don't like him. But
Go ahead.
this is why I'm about to say this.
Put some respect on him, man. You got it.
I can respect him.
Oh man, this is a monumental episode.
I can respect him and I can respect it because I thought about it and I sat back and just like let everything just marinate. And I was like, and I tell y'all about this too. Like I always say, if I was a wrestler in WWE, just hypothetically, and I told y'all wrestlers like who I would be. Somebody like a Miz or an Enzo, pretty much. No different.
Yeah, he's you. That's why I never understood your gripe with him, man.
It ain't no different.
He's relatable to you.
It's like I'm like damn. It's like this is really it right here. I'm like, like his heat now. It's not even like a hateable heat. Like he's trash. It's actually working.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Character work. It's very well done.
It took years for it. I didn't know what was going to happen after the Rey Mysterio feud and him was going to happen. I thought he was going to fall flat on his face after, but Dominic Mysterio, I'm going to give you your flowers and say good job. I respect your work and what you're doing and all that. Finally, I apologize it took me this long to admit that.
Yes.
I don't know what y'all got to say about it, but what y'all got to say about Dirty Dom Mysterio and his work so far in WWE?
I'll talk on Dirty Dom because I remember the scene where he was getting arrested and he said, "I can't make it. I can't make it in jail, mommy, boy." I don't know, like that scene right there, it was hilarious. It was a quick scene. It's sort of like a spark where it's like, wait a minute, I think he can get into his character. And he's really taking this whole Judgment Day thing, mommy character, I've been in jail character. He's really taking it and with it. Even his in-ring, I would say he graduated from terrible to standard at this point. And so I can
saying all that now. No.
Oh no, I'm gonna say that.
He's definitely at a meets expectations level. He's not terrible. He's not terrible.
No, I'm very proud of his work. I'm very interested on whatever him and Rhea did, and it. I mean, there's not much else to speak on it. I mean, Cinko did a lot of the work for us, which is very surprising. So, congrats to Dirty Dom. I look forward to what else he gives us.
Yeah, I'm actually more proud of Cinko out here being a man and owning up. You know what I'm saying? That's beautiful, right? That's growth. That's what that is. Love to see it. Love to see it. Prime time Dom benefited. You know what I'm saying? He can go where he want to go. Really. Like I said, he's still pretty standard as far as wrestling skills. I don't think he actually practices. It's weird because I think we expect him to be more like his dad. And he's not, and that's where a lot of the flack for his wrestling ability comes from, as well as his lack of actual training. He hasn't really gone through the pipeline of WWE, so he's really learning on the fly. And he's up to standard. He's up to par with most of the roster. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm not really bothered by it. And his character work is beyond most of the roster. So he cool with me. Mm-hmm. You know, that's all I really be asking for.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. His character work is actually above par from the roster, and that's what got me, because my thing is entertainment, and he been entertaining. And the thing about it, he ain't gotta do his character's developed so much he ain't gotta do nothing now. It's like he put a microphone to his mouth and everybody start booing louder than normal.
Got that Vicky
heat. That's true. It is wild, but yeah, that's all I had to say about Dominic Mysterio.
And
on that note, we're gonna end this episode because I ain't gonna give out too many files. You're just getting a couple dandelions, and that's it. All right, I'm slowly like you. I don't like you like that, but yeah. But with that being said, thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for watching. Episode 73. We appreciate y'all as always. We love y'all as always. And keep on checking in, tapping in, and listening to the channel. Because without y'all, there wouldn't be no us. Well, I mean, it would be us, but it wouldn't be us on this platform. But you get what I'm saying. But before we sign off, this one's something for us. And that is to follow us on all social media platforms, KTR Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. No Rose Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, No Rose Podcast, all podcast platforms, got Google Podcasts, got Spotify, Anchor, our podcast popping with everything. And don't forget to get your merch at ProWrestlingTees.com/KTR Podcast. This is episode 73, live and direct, KTR, hashtag KTR, Know the Rules Podcast. And we are out.
Oh, big hole. What should they be doing?
Pump them goddamn numbers and super soak that hoe.
I'm about to say you're gonna spray the screen.
No, it's empty.
That don't compute in my mind. I must be out of mind. Black fist high, rally up before we out of time.